All right, hello and welcome. Brett here with clickmail.co. In this video, I'm going to share my screen with you again, and we're going to get into keyword intent and what that means. Now, keyword intent is incredibly important, and the intent behind the keyword that you can see on this column is going to determine the way in which you put together the whole marketing strategy around this. The whole funnel is going to be built based on the intent here, and this is probably the most important part. So when we look at the intent of the keyword, there are a few different intents, and a couple of them aren't terribly important, but there are basically three categories that are very important. Okay, so the first is what we might call transaction. Well, this isn't really the first, but this is one, transactional. And this means this person's looking to sign up. The user wants to complete an action, and this is called a conversion. So transaction, conversion, they want to sign up for something. So in the case for church near me, what are people looking to do? Save my seat, plan my visit, sign up for some kind of an event. This is good. This means we can advertise to this, and we're going to bring in names and emails and phone numbers. And that is the number one most important thing that you can do with marketing. If people come to your website and they leave your website without giving you contact information, you've got nobody to follow up with. It doesn't matter how good your website is. They're gone. Then they're going to go get stuck in their Instagram or their TikTok feed, and they're gone. You're never going to hear from them again. So we want to get access to people who are ready to sign up. So that's very important. Now, navigational is people looking for a specific brand. Now, this isn't, specific page or site here. This isn't really as important unless you're really focused in heavily on branding. And this isn't really something that I would say is as common, but if you were to go, say, over to Church's Chicken and go say, hey, we want to work for you, people are going to be very specifically looking for Church's Chicken as the term because that's the name of the brand. And so you'll see navigational has to do with the brand. Transactional has to do with I'm ready to order my meal, order online now. Okay, so there's a transaction happening there, at least hitting an add to cart sort of situation. So navigational, not as important unless you're really with a big brand or something. Transactional, they're at least wanting to take an action, and they probably have in mind what they're looking for. Let's see if we can find anything else. I'm probably going to have to go to a different search because you'll notice these are all navigational and all transactional. And that tells you something about this industry. People are wanting to take an action, but they're not necessarily looking for information, and they're not necessarily looking to buy something. So that's important. These are transactional means free action, not paid action. So that's very important. And we need to know that when we make our marketing choices. Now let's go over here and let's look up Christian counseling, COU counseling, and let's just see what comes up there. I bet it's going to say online and near me. We're going to get a lot of that. All right, so we're going to assess the new landscape, and then we're going to assess the intent. Okay. Christian counseling near me, 50 keyword difficulty, 14,800. Again, this is nationwide. Christian counseling, 10,062, $6.31, $12. Christian counseling degrees. I told you educational industry gets a little higher. That's a school saying, we have Christian counseling degrees, click our ad. And then they pay $13 for that click, but then you pay, $5 gajillion to go to whatever school, and that number will be literally accurate in a few years, and inflation continues to pick up. Now, moving on from there, transactional, Christian counseling near me, what's happening? They're wanting to go to a website. They're wanting to maybe call someone. They're wanting to take an action. We need to track that action. Now, Christian counseling, interestingly, Christian marriage counseling, this here, Christian marriage counseling, this is someone who's having a very difficult time in marriage. And I just happen to know that when people look up marriage counseling, it's usually because they are at a point of no return, and we have to solve this or it's not going to work. And as it turns out, my wife has a degree in family systems theory, a master's in family systems theory. And so, we know a fair bit about counseling. That's her degree. And so here, commercial, why is this commercial? Commercial means I'm ready to pay money. This is that meme of the guy holding up his money from Simpsons, and he's like, shut up and take my money, right? And he's like trying to throw money at this guy so he can buy stuff. That's this. They're like, listen, I need a counselor right now, take my money. And that's what commercial means. Christian couples counseling, there it is. Take my money. Christian counseling degrees. This is someone who is serious about becoming a counselor and wants to pay a school money to sign up. Awesome. Now, here's what you'll notice, and I want you to see this. Lastly, Onward Christian Counseling Services. This is informational. So that's very interesting. Informational means, how to build a deck. That would be informational. I don't know how to do that. I want information on how to do that. I'm not buying anything. I'm just learning. I'm in the learning process. I'm in the research phase of a purchasing decision. Because what happens if I'm researching how to build a deck? Well, and I'm going to do something with it, then I'm going to need to buy a hammer and some nails and some wood, which is why Home Depot shows up at the very top of those search results for how to build a deck, because they're selling the tools. Well, I'm either going to have to buy the tools and then learn how to do it with the information, or I'm going to have to go pay a contractor to do it for me. And so it starts with information, and we're in the research phase of the purchase process. And right now, there's no money involved, but in the future, there may be, and there will be with some percentage of those searches. Now, let's continue here. Christian counseling degree. Okay. So again, we see informational, but this is interesting. So here, Onward Christian Counseling Services. This is this must be, and I don't know what this is. Onward sounds like a name. So so this is an actual firm, it looks like, and we can look this up. We'll do this in a second. This is an actual firm called Onward, and it is a Christian counseling service provider. They have 2,000 searches per month for their brand name, which is quite impressive. The difficulty to rank for this keyword is 18. So if you want to be a super competitive Christian and you go and you keyword target top 10 best Christian counseling firms, and then Onward's number 1 and you're number 2, or you're number 1 and they're number 2, and you will now show up above Onward Christian Counseling Services for your Christian counseling services. Okay, that is how you would position yourself if you wanted to do that. Now, best Christian counseling services. Maybe Onward's the best online and you're the best in Texas, or whatever. So now here, you'll see 0.00. You want to talk about opportunities. It's a very easy keyword to rank for. Look at this, Christian counseling. Well, that's a degree. Cornerstone Christian Counseling, 36. Online Christian Counseling, 37. But you look up this brand name, 18 to rank. They can, to start ranking for their own name and being more competitive, they can probably increase their margins, their profit, their income, their clients. And over here, they're not even advertising. So someone could come in for like a nickel a click, probably not, but a couple bucks a click, come in low and start advertising over their keyword. And when someone goes in and says Onward Christian Counseling, and then it's like the page that shows up at the very top, because you're targeting the keyword when they search it, when they type the keyword in the query into the search engine, Onward Christian Counseling, it shows up and it's like, Brett's Christian Counseling, best Christian counseling, and that's the ad. Well, I'm advertising to the people searching for their keyword, and I'm putting my firm. So this is actually a weakness in their advertising strategy, because I could go pay a couple bucks a click and go show up super, super inexpensively over a firm that's very well established, and people are going to click on me just because I'm there. This is normal. Now, I know within the church and within the Christian realm, this is pretty maybe foreign concepts with competitive advertising. Now, I'll point this out in regard to what we're talking about. And this is a little bit off topic, but this is normal practice in secular business, even in Christian business to some degree. I mean, this is normal. Now, is it nice? No, not really. But it's also a good thing. And so I want to share that too. What happens when there is competition is it makes us all better. It is iron sharpening iron. All of the competing marriage counseling firms here, Christian marriage counseling firms, they're all trying to get this keyword. They're competing at a 41 difficulty for $375 a click, and there's 5,400 searches. They're all trying to get this. And so what happens? The quality of the page, the quality of the service, what they're offering in that service is going to increase in quality, and the price they're going to charge is going to decrease, because they're all competing here. Well, what happens if some Christian counseling service, I want to reach more people. I want to offer better services. What if I go on to Onward Christian Counseling Services? I come in here and I can offer biblical counseling services. Let's just say I could. I can't because I'm not certified for that. But let's say I could. And I looked at their website and I said, okay, what are they offering and how can I do better? And how can I do it better for cheaper? So more people would want to go with me. And then I went and I advertised over their name and I did it for very inexpensively. I would just soak up a big chunk of their traffic and I'd have a Christian counseling firm just because this organization is not competing in this area. So I'll go compete for them. Now, it's not nice, it's shrewd. Now, this is interesting because the Bible says we should be shrewd as a serpent and innocent as a dove. Now, is this a good strategy for you? I don't know. But what I am saying is what happens is when Onward Christian Counseling Services realize someone else is advertising over their business and that's why leads have gone down, what are they going to do? They're going to bump their game and they're going to start advertising for their own name and try to beat me out. Good for them. Now they're offering a better service to the market, better Christian counseling services, better Christian advertising. And now I'm competing with them. And who's winning? The customers who need Christian counseling. Prices are going down. The quality is going up because we're actually, trying to do better than the other guy. So the more churches that are competing in this way, the more ministries that are competing, we're going to reach more people and we're all going to push each other up together better. It's actually a team game within the church. So, when you think about it on the level of, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start a Christian counseling firm and I'm going to beat out Onward. Well, maybe it's not nice. At the same time, when all of the Christian counseling firms are doing this to each other, it's really good for the world because now Christian counseling is capable of reaching a lot more people because it's less expensive and everybody's producing better products and services. And so this is actually what I believe the Christian church needs is a lot more competition. And so here, for example, Christian counseling, Christian marriage counseling, 22. Christian couples counseling, 40. This is low for counseling. If you look up other counseling keywords that are just secular, it's going to be a lot higher than 40. It'll probably be 60s to 80s, if not higher. So with that, this is intent. Coming back to intent, we have informational, we have transactional, we have navigational, and we have commercial. Okay, so information is a blog. They just want information. Just tell me how to build the deck. Tell me what Onward Christian Counseling Services is. I don't really know what it is. Tell me what it is. And they need to go and write blogs so they rank and bump up this difficulty for other people to knock them out of the market. So informational, transactional. I want to go to some kind of website that offers Christian couples counseling near me, and I want to sign up on some kind of a form or get a brochure or call or something. I want to do something that's free, but gives over information. Navigational. I want to go to some kind of brand. Cornerstone Christian Counseling. Is it a shock that this is navigational? They want to go to a specific page or site? No, it's not surprising at all. Cornerstone's right there in the name. They want to go navigate to the Cornerstone Christian Counseling site. And lastly, commercial. I want to pay right now. This goes to a page that says, schedule your free discovery call. And they do a little 15-minute call with a nice lady on the phone. And she's like, great, what's your insurance information? What's your whatever? What's your card number? Great. And then they sign up and now you have a client. So this is paying and this is a service page. So as we continue and we start looking at all these different pages, commercial intent, service, or product page, you just send them over so they can buy. They're ready to go. They're a warm lead. They're saying, be quiet and take my money. Transactional, you send them to a page with a conversion, but not a paid for conversion. So this would be call today, schedule a tour, download your brochure, get your free course, which is what's on our site, something to that effect. Informational, you send them to a blog. What happens in the blog? You're answering their question, you're meeting their need for the information that they need. And then what do? You give a banner. You have products in the sidebar. So the blog is then like, oh, hey, if you love this article, you're really going to love. And what we do on ClickMail is, get access to all these courses and take your calling to the next level and access courses and training and quizzes. And there's a picture of the back end. And, if you're here, you may have gone through that. So we went from informational. And what is that? I'm not asking them to pay for it. It's the free version. So what we do is we get them from information to the transaction. So we're trying to move their intent. Oh, you're looking for information? You love this information? Give us your name and phone number, and we move to the sign up. Once they love it, once they're in there, then we try to move them to the commercial. Oh, you're loving these courses? Hey, we've got this whole paid section, and it's going to teach you to go out and reach the world for Christ and do all this stuff. Then what are we doing? We're trying to move them from the transactional to the commercial. So, and lastly, navigational, again, not as important, but if you're trying to get them to an individual website, then of course you want to use the keyword in that website. So the homepage of Cornerstone Christian Counseling should have Cornerstone all over it. So these are the intents. Now, the reason why these are so important, as I just said, and I'm going to tell you why it's important, is because the type of page and the type of marketing funnel you're going to tie to these is going to depend on the intent. Now, I don't always trust the intent that this tool provides, and any tool provides. I'm going to read it myself. But I mean, here, this seems right. Christian counseling, they want counseling services. They know it's a service. They know it's paid. They're ready to pay some money. So what am I going to do? I'm going to send them to a page that commits them to some type of paid service. Okay. So this is what we would call a service page or a product page. And that's the strategy. That's the easiest one. And you'll notice this is why in Christian counseling here, commercial, why is the cost per click so high here? Because the advertisers know that the intent here is to spend money. So what are we willing to do? We're willing to spend more money advertising in the Google search results because we know we'll make it back and we'll make a profit. So the cost per click is higher here. But what happens when we come down to something informational like this, Onward Christian Counseling, $0. Why? People aren't looking to buy. And advertisers know this. Now, Onward Christian Counseling probably doesn't realize that they could probably do okay with this. But again, I don't know what Onward is. And we may look this up and find, it is informational, and this makes perfect sense. Well, let's look it up right now and we'll figure it out. Onward Christian Counseling Services, and let's see what it is. It's goose egg. I don't know what it is. Onward Christian Counseling Services, LLC, Bossier City, Louisiana. They don't even have a website. It's just a Facebook page. What is this? Let's click on this. I don't know if I'm logged into Facebook. Nope. All right. Anyway, so it does appear to be a Christian counseling firm that gets 2,000 searches a month for a reason I don't understand. But it does appear to be a firm. Now, if people are that into this counseling firm, they probably should be doing some advertising. Maybe they're confused because they think this is an informational search term, so they're not advertising. That could be it. Well, if I went and did research and I was like, aha, this is assigned wrong. This is a commercial term. They do want to give you money. Come over here, pay us, and we're going to make sure you're advertising and you're really competitive and people aren't going to come in and steal the traffic to your name. So don't always trust this, but most of the time it's pretty accurate. Information intent is usually blogs. They want information, you send them to an article, and that article then, and this is where the strategy comes in, that article needs to lead to a transaction. And that transaction then needs to lead to a purchase. And so you begin to put together a strategy. If they're just going to purchase, great. But if, like, for example, with a Christian school, and then you just send them to a purchase page. But if you're going to do something like a Christian school and mom is wanting to book a tour, the tour needs to lead on the back end to a sales pitch that says, hey, you love the school? Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. And the kids are happy and, they're so safe and secure. And then it's like, great, why don't you go ahead and apply today? And we'll just go ahead and we'll take payment. Oh, okay. So the transaction intent went to the commercial intent in the sales process. This is how it goes. If they're looking for information, you give them information in whatever form they want, a video, pictures, a picture guide, top 10 Christian schools, whatever it is, and you give them the information they're looking for and you call them to action. And while we're talking about this, I will share this. We'll go over here to clickmail.co / there we go. We'll just pull up an article I always use as an example. So someone's looking for church vision statement. What are they trying to do? Figure out informationally. This is the keyword here so that we understand firstly, church vision statement. And here's the keyword in the URL, church vision statement, how to create powerful church vision statement. This is a ministry leader, a church pastor probably saying, well, gosh, how do I make a church vision statement? So we wrote an article about it because it's informational. So we wrote a blog to match with an informational search term by intent. And then what happens? What's the strategy? Oh, wow. Hey, maybe these guys actually know what they're talking about. Oh, what do? I take my calling to the next level and I get all these courses and get my free account. Transactional intent. We're shifting the intent from informational to transactional. And then again, once we get them on the back end and they love the material, you're watching it, we say, hey, if you really love these, XYZ free courses, sign up right now, get the bigger subscription plan. It's only this much. It's $1 your first month. And, let's get going. And they're like, oh, awesome. And then they pay. So we went from transactional to commercial. So I know I've spent a lot of time and we've circled around this a couple times. It is intentional because that is such an important part of the strategy. If we don't know the intent, we cannot build the right type of pages to meet that intent and then take them along the journey to the commercial element of whatever it is. So in this video, a little bit longer, we looked at the intent of the keyword and what these different intents mean. And we should also be able to just look at the keyword without this. It didn't actually used to have the intent column, but we should be able to really figure out the intent ourselves. And so that's what we covered in this video. In next video, we're going to look at the keyword and we're going to talk about what is called the keyword tail. How long is this keyword and what does that mean about our search? And then we're going to go into how do we really do all of this together and figure out how we build an advertising strategy or a marketing strategy. In this case, I guess an SEO strategy based on this information. So thank you for hanging with me through this one a little longer, and I'll see you in the very next video. God bless.